Alright, what's going on everyone? CPAT here with another Exceed commentary, and we are in the midst of a battle, of a true battle. We've got Banazama on red side, bringing out the Polar Knight, of course. We've seen Polar Knight a couple times. So apologies, we are like in the middle of the game. And then we have Petersonian on blue side, bringing out the Gutsman. So we got a little bit of a mirror match going on. I guess we just really like mirror matches. When it comes to this tournament, this is a man for all seasons. This is going to be round 2. Apologies, I am more unprepared than normal. Although I'd claim I'm pretty unprepared anyway when it comes to casting a couple of these games. But we are just right in the middle of it. Just the middle of game 1, I believe. So this is going to be a team-based tournament, 3v3, where each competitor is paired up against another competitor on another team. So no actual team dynamics, but right off the bat, you can see funny stuff. Like we've got overlapping ice spikes with boulders. A lot of garbage going to be put on the board here, obviously. Both sides playing that Polar Knight with the ice spike mechanic. And I guess we're just going to jump right into it. Both sides already exceeded, which means that when an ice spike is placed on, or when there's an ice spike underneath an opponent that is hit, of course, that's going to be a +3 power. +3 power boost. So both sides are basically at peak form. Both sides have a gauge. Both sides have 3 ice spikes on the board or 2 to 3 ice spikes on the board in relatively decent positions, although not underneath it. Of course, Polar. Oh, I don't think we have references anywhere. Yeah, Polar has abilities to push or pull on a number of cards. We got like Shovel Slam, Stomp, Grasp, of course, Shovel Drop as well. And Snow Slash as well. So we see Petersonian initiate a strike here. Just gonna get crossed out. So Polar Knight moving back to range 5 away from Gutsman. That's just gonna be a paltry 3 damage. No ice spikes involved. Unfortunately for Banazama, he has ice spikes at range 1 and 2 already, so has to place one behind him. So we just see a prep come out. We're sitting at range 5, where the only cards that work are, of course, we have a 1-7 sweep-like card in the Polar Plow. Although this is probably going to do less damage than normal, just because there are a bunch of ice spikes in between the players. And then we also have Icicle Drop, which actually probably doesn't apply yet, because I believe both players are lacking gauge. Yeah, it's prep. I believe it's now Petersonian's turn again. Petersonian, of course, rocking the Gutsman. Apologies, I don't have the Gutsman little icon. As Steam is just popping off with notifications on my phone. Apologies if you can hear the vibrate of the phone. I think like some kind of Steam sale started today. But then again, they have Steam sales so often now that it actually doesn't matter too much. As we see Banazama boosting Fierce at range 5. This is pretty spicy. Again, like we're in the middle of the game, so we don't really know what the card contents are. But of course, at range 5, this is the kind of threat that we're looking for, right? That Polar Plow. As we see the rebuild boost come out here from Petersonian. So draw 2 cards, and then he may remove 1 or more of his boulders to draw that many cards. Technically, he did in the wrong order, but that's okay. Technically, you can draw the 2 cards first, then choose whether you want to remove any boulders. And then, of course, it adds itself to gauge as well. So Petersonian builds that second gauge for this Snow Slash Ultra, which functions very similarly to a block that hits. Very, very good card. So we see, I believe Banazama just prepped. Both players now at relatively high hand sizes. Back to Petersonian here. Again, like this range all depends on how many Polar Plows are left in the deck. with only 2 gauge each. With 3 gauge, of course, we have to start worrying about icicle drop setups, but not the case here. So I hope the stream and everything is running properly. Didn't really have time to check whether the audio is working okay. Okay, I just checked it. Sounds fine to me. And we are off. I mean, we've been off for a while, but I wonder if these guys are going to do the triple mirror match. We're going to see a strike here from Petersonian. Pretty spicy here. Polar Plow is played, and it's just going to be the offensive block. Yeah, okay, it is. Just defuses the setup, although with an offensive, I'm not a big fan of the offensive block to defuse the setup. Much prefer the defensive one, but we reset to neutral. Polar Plow close, or so how much is this going to be? This is going to be a 4 power Polar Plow, I believe, because it's going to be 3 ice spikes in between, so -3 power. +2 from the Fierce is 4 power total. Ice Spike gets placed behind Petersonian in the corner. Notably, all 5 of Banazama's Ice Spikes are on the board, which means the next time he wants to place a new Ice Spike on the board, he's going to have to replace one. Not the biggest deal in the world, but something to look out for, whereas Petersonian only has 3 Ice Spikes on the board at the moment. So like I said, this 4 power Polar Plow after closes 3 as well, so we're back to that melee range that Polar Knight really can exceed at with the +3 power on the Ice Spikes. Although neither player's sitting on an Ice Spike just yet. Like we alluded to earlier, there's a bunch of ways to get that push-pull onto an Ice Spike, get that setup going. Looks like we're going to see an expenditure of 1 force in the form of Cross to take no damage. So now back to Petersonian. Has found himself on short side of the board this entire time, which is probably disadvantageous, right? But also maybe like okay-ish if both players are going to stick to melee for the rest of the game. Obviously, in a lot of cases, you would prefer long side of board. But notably, if Petersonian were to use that run boost, for example, in this position, lands himself on an Ice Spike every single time, right? At 1, 2, and 3, so can't move himself out of the corner without risking huge damage in the form of that run boost. So just decides to discard it instead. We're getting to the point where deck sizes are getting kind of low, to where maybe reading could be a threat. I don't know how many focuses were spent in the early game. Okay, we're going to see the block and come out. When you are hit, spend any amount of gauge for +2 armor. So notably, the Ultra allows you to spend force, but this requires gauge. So significantly more flexible, right? But at the cost of you could only spend gauge. Luckily, Banazama appears to have 3 of it, so can build just an immense amount of armor in the next strikes, should he choose, or should he need it. Back to Petersonian here. Looked like he flipped a card. Looked like he flipped maybe this one? I don't know. Yep, Petersonian going for a strike here. We're at range 2, so we're thinking something like, okay, just goes for the assault, beats the dive, beats the slower option here. Just going to be a 4 power assault. Banazama, of course, can build the armor by spending gauge. So we'll choose to spend 2 gauge, not take any damage, thus is not stunned. So the dive will dive over, and then Ice Spikes will get placed on both sides at range 1 for both these competitors. So both players choosing to place their Ice Spikes in between each other. What's up, Ice Spot? How are you? Got some some more mirror matches, because I think that's how this tournament. Think there's some. I think that's how this a lot of players are playing this tournament. It's interesting the just how many mirror matches there have been. Yeah, this is a mirror. Petersonian is of course rocking the Guts Man, who is who puts boulders on the field instead of ice spikes. That's why there's so much like garbage like here. Like look at this. This is disgusting. Well, actually, I love it as a Polar Knight player, but it's a little disgusting, you have to admit. So I believe it's Petersonian's turn. Finally, he has long side of the board. So has space behind him to maneuver, should he choose to take it. Just eyeing his deck like he's going to prepare, and yeah, it just goes for that prepare option. Polar Knight, notably at range 2, does have a DP in Stomp. Does no damage, but of course with the Ice Spikes will do damage if necessary. Although, there's no boulder behind Polar Knight right here. We're seeing EX set here from Banazama. This could be anything. Just because we missed the early game, so we actually don't know what cards are left. They get something like EX Assault. I feel like I haven't seen an Assault from his Banazama. I wonder if he has a dirty mix-up to go along with it. Although this EX Assault, there is an Ice Spike underneath Gutsman right now, so this EX Assault will be 8 power. 8 power at 6 speed. We just saw Petersonian drop across as well, and that's going to be a Wild Swing. Wild Swing's the Snow Slash. That's pretty good. I mean, that's going to trade, right? This EX Assault has 8 total power. But of course, Snow Slash can build force just like a block. So yeah, Banazama removes the Ice Spike from underneath Gutsman. It's going to be 8 total power coming in, but of course, Petersonian almost assuredly going to spend force to mitigate this and then hit back with the Snow Slash. Has already validated it, I believe. So has that force in the gauge as well. Then we'll push, we'll actually push Banazama back to the corner as well. Oh, but wait, there's an Ice Spike underneath Polar Knight, or there's a boulder underneath Polar Knight now. Because the Assault, of course, moved Polar Knight to range 1. So that's going to be a total of 6 power after armor. Should Petersonian choose to remove the boulder underneath Polar Knight, which I don't see why you wouldn't, because you just replace it afterward with the after ability on the UA. Yep, and there's the removal. That's going to be 3 extra damage incoming for Banazama. Pretty big swing there. You can never... In the Polar Knight mirror, you can never count out a card like Snow Slash, especially. Anyways, that is going to be Banazama taking advantage, of course, with the Assault. Looks like an expenditure of 2 force, 3 force, 4 force, maybe a CC. Yep, just get a fresh hand. CC4, drawing 5. A little bit of lag there on the CC, but we got there in the end. Banazama down to 5 cards in hand, 6 cards in deck. So if readings are available, this would be a good time to start thinking about reading, although I don't think reading will come out here necessarily, but maybe in the future. Petersonian has a wealth of force at his disposal with 2 ultras in his gauge right now. It's going to be an expenditure of 1 force so far. For reach, plus 0 to 1 range, now strike. Is Petersonian the type to go for a mix-up here? Just play a spike here, just for kicks. Obviously, the threat is something like a 6 power grasp. Grasp him onto the boulder. Grasp Polar Knight onto the boulder. For plus 3 power, right? That's your level 0 threat. But of course, we could be just playing spike here, just for fun. Because of course, grasp still loses to focus at range 2. Are there any other spicy cards that could be part of this mix-up? Like, none that really matter too much. Maybe a shovel, maybe a cheeky shovel slam. Oh, it's gonna be the shovel drop, which is basically a spike in this scenario. It's gonna be met with the shovel charge though. So the shovel charge will go first. There is. Can the shovel? I don't think the shovel charge can actually stun out the 6 power of the shovel drop. However, Gutsman will be pushed onto an ice spike more than likely. So this will be a 6 total power shovel charge. Should Banazama choose to perform his hit effect? But it looks like he's not. I don't know why he didn't push, because he could have pushed onto this boulder. Or maybe he triggered a boulder already, I don't know. But anyways, that's going to be a 6 power ignore armor option. For Gutsman, because Gutsman, I'm assuming, can remove a boulder for additional power. With the push or pull 1. And it looks like they're like resolving it, and I'm just going to trust that their resolution is correct. Because I kind of I looked away at the screen for half a second, so I'm just going to trust that the resolution is correct. Polar Knight, one of those more complicated characters with a billion triggers. Like, this card has 7 different abilities on it. If you include the 2 from the UA, and yeah, it looks like, interestingly enough, Banazama opted to not push onto here for +3 power. But then Petersonian did get his +3 power on the Gutsman. Wait, when? Okay, they exchanged positions, of course, because of the before effect on Shovel Drop. So now Petersonian does find himself in the corner. However, only 3 life left to chew through, versus the 12 that Polar Knight has to get through. So yeah, Petersonian did go for the mix-up option, just not the mix-up option that we called. Just went for the mix-up option that actually triggers an ice spike as well in the shovel drop. Beast focus, but would have traded it with sweep as opposed to spike beating both sweep and focus. But I think both of Banazama's sweeps are down, so it actually didn't matter in that scenario. So 2 really big value swings there. But of course this matchup is going to be super swingy. Just when you introduce +3 power into the mix, the matchup's going to be super swingy, right? But 2 big swings there in favor of Petersonian. First the EX Assault into the Wild Swing Snow Slash, and then this this huge swing right here. Something like 6 for 3. 6 for 2 maybe even. Because of the armor on Shovel Drop. I mean, you can't count Banazama out yet, obviously. Gutsman is sitting on an ice spike right now in the corner, no less. So I mean, this could just be a casual like 8 damage strike from Banazama coming out, right? And then we're just back to like 1 strike territory for both sides. But Petersonian 1 strike away from winning, and Banazama is 2 strikes away from winning. Because there's no way you can do 12 damage. I believe the max you can do is 11. Although technically you could do 12 with EX Icicle Drop. But I don't think it's an option that's available. Okay, Banazama just initiating a strike here at range 2. Has only 1 gauge, so can't go for that aforementioned Icicle Drop. I guess the only question we have to ask ourselves is this going to be a fast or slow? We're going for the block, and it's the spike from Banazama. Big boy spike. And, I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? The big swings there. That's going to be an 8 damage spike incoming. Petersonian down to 4 HP. Of course, beating the Snow Slash. And, I mean, yeah, next strike wins the game, most likely. As we're going to see, that looked like an expenditure of Icicle Drop as 1 force to move to range 1. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Probably just starting that 7-speed grasp here. If I had to guess. Maybe a stomp. Stomp is basically the same thing here. Both would have exactly... Well, grasp would have 6 power. Stomp would have 3 power. So grasp would go through that focus. Banazama though has a lot of room behind him to play. So he could just leave if he wants, right? Has two force in the gauge and a bunch of cards in hand. Can't just leave if he doesn't want to deal with whatever this is. Okay, we're flipping the deck. We have Polar Plow at the bottom of the deck. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, now I'm really confused as to what's going on here. Well, Banazama should use that information that Polar Plow is stuck at the bottom of the deck and just leave now, right? I mean, that is pretty critical information to give away there if you're Petersonian. Like, Banazama should just leave now. With that Polar Plow stuck at the bottom of the deck. If he doesn't like this range 1. I mean, maybe he does like the range 1. Maybe he has options that we're unaware of. But instead, we're going to be dashing through. So we're not leaving. We're staying at range 1. We're also taking the corner here. Notably, this is important because now Grasp doesn't beat Focus anymore. As we see an expenditure of 2 force to back up to range 3. Huh. Why did that Ice Spike get removed? I'm pretty sure, wasn't Peterson standing on it? Yeah, there we go. Should be back on. Spike should not be removed because Petersonian was standing on it. By the way, Petersonian taking his chances here at range 3. So we spent expenditure of 1 force to move to range 2. Interesting. So, obviously, we don't really know the deck comps too well, but yeah, definitely an interesting endgame. Unfortunately for Petersonian, he just kind of run out of force to do things. Of course, the Ultra there running into the Spike got rid of 2 gauge as well, right? And Petersonian just says, "I'm going to strike here. This could be the end of the game." Striking with a card from hand as well. 6 cards in deck. 1 card in hand, choosing to strike with a card in hand. This could be it. Something like a 7-speed Stomp just has 3 power on it. Is there a mix-up in play, though? Right, we saw Banazama go for the big boy spike. Does Petersonian have a big boy spike in him as well? Banazama does have 2 gauge, so if a card like Snow Slash is available, I mean, that looks like a really safe option. But of course, this could be just the spike. It is the Snow Slash, however. It's gonna be a focus from Petersonian. So Petersonian will have 7 power with this focus. Of course, it's Snow Slash, so we're gonna be building armor for Gutsman. Petersonian also draws a card, and looks like an expenditure of 2 force to drop down to 2 HP. That's gonna be 1 damage incoming, and the Snow Slash will hit back for 2 after armor. The focus, of course, cannot be pushed, so Banazama did not win the game there outright. Although, yeah, did not win the game there outright. As both players put their ice spikes in between each other yet again. And we're going to see Banazama just go for the strike here. This is the stomp to win the game. It's a wild swing cross, but it is the stomp. And that's going to be it. Polar Knight takes game 1 over Gutsman. And what I'm hoping is the last mirror match we'll see of the night, but I somehow doubt it. Okay, so neither player can use Polar Knight for the rest of the tournament. That's how the format for this tournament is. You have a roster of 12 characters, and each character can be used maximum once. So I don't have the list of characters up yet because I kind of decided to cast this game last minute, so apologies for that. Although I will say, oh, never mind. It's just Mirror City here. It's just three mirrors. Okay, yep, very cool. And we're gonna see that Chun mirror again that we saw last time. Not last time, but I think D versus Feathers had that Chun mirror. Okay, yep, very cool. We're not gonna. Who's the last character then? I guess is the question. We're not gonna card track this. This is tomfoolery. Oh no! Look at the last character we're gonna see in this mirror match is gonna be the Taukaka. Oh my. Good luck and have fun. Good luck and have fun. So we did see D pull out the Chun mirror against Feathers earlier in this tournament just by building Massive Gauge. This is Race to Exceed. Has to be Race to Exceed. This particular mirror matchup. Funnily enough, we saw D build like 7 gauge on backside on his win over Feathers. You can check out that on my YouTube channel if you want. I wouldn't highly recommend it, as we see. As we see the null strike of what was that? An offensive block into a defensive focus. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's a thing, right? Obviously, Banazama expecting a card like the SBK or the Dive. I wonder if this is cross from Petersonian to negate the +1 speed, because obviously Swift Attack is a card that on hit adds to gauge, and that's not something you want if you are in a Chun mirror. That's not something you don't want your opposing Chun to build 2 gauge when you only build 1 or even 0, so would not be surprised if this is just the cross coming out from Petersonian. Petersonian's a big fan of these empty strikes. And yeah, that is the cross. It's going to be the Kikoken, so at least Chun can move 1. Chun actually has to move 1. Moving to range 5 means a card like Spinning Bird Kick will hit. Take a look at this. As well as the Kikoken that we just saw from Banazama. So we see the +1 power boosted power attack. Notably important to note, while Spinning Bird Kick does have some guard, Spinning Bird Kick does stun out Spinning Bird Kick. Unless, of course, there's something like a defend boosted. This power attack is pretty spicy. I wonder if it's trying to warn Petersonian that there's an EX SBK in this hand. Petersonian is going for a strike here, though. Again, we are at range 5, so the only cards that hit on front side are going to be that SBK and the Kikoken. So Petersonian strikes with one card, daring Banazama to reveal that EX. Only has the singular copy, so that will get stunned. That is, then that is a very peculiar +1 power, then. It's a very peculiar +1 power if that was just the singular SBK. But we're just brawling out here. It's gonna be the Wild Swing dive going over the spike. Neither player hits again. That's gonna be like null strike number 3 in this match. Petersonian prepares. Both players now on relatively low hand sizes, and that's not something that you want to see on Chun. We're gonna see the swift attack boosted at range 2 for Petersonian. That's gonna be +1 speed. Hit gain advantage, add to gauge. Petersonian notably is on short side though, so Cross will get hit by some of those slows that we all know and love. Looks like Petersonian is just going to be initiating here. Could this be like an on-curve assault? Could it be a below-curve mid-speed perhaps? Petersonian already winning the gauge race 2-0. It is going to be that on-curve assault beats the Wild Swing Lightning Legs. So that's going to be 4 more power, and it's going to be 4 gauge built for Petersonian. That's going to be an immediate exceed for sure. Yep, and there it is. 1, 2, 3. So we'll take a look at backside Chun. Frontside Chun can just retreat whenever she plays a boost. But this is why we want to be exceeding this mirror match here. After you resolve a boost, you may retreat 1 for each continuous boost you have in play, plus 0 to 1 range. As we see the Guard Crush come out here, did Banazama pay a force for that? That is a 1 force ability. Okay, and there's the expansion of the force in the form of the second Lightning Legs. And this is probably just a Grasp, right? Yeah, 7 speed, ignore armor, Grasp. Builds 2 gauge for Banazama. Lets Banazama choose a range as well. That is on SBK, which is a pretty valuable card in this mirror match. On the fact that SBK literally hits everywhere. Just might as well just say 1 to 8. Petersonian, of course, did not take his damage yet. So we're going to see the light boosted, and then, of course, for each continuous boost Petersonian has in play right now, he gets 1 additional maximum range. So we didn't really take a look at Chun's kit. We'll take a look at it now. There's nothing too special here. So we see Petersonian or Banazama just striking into that. I wonder if that's just a block. I wonder if that's a block or slow. Surely Banazama is not playing like the cross or something to get out of here. It can't be the cross. Looks like we're going to see a critical here. Banazama going on curve against the critical Lightning Legs at speed 8. Definitely going to get stunned out there. And of course, because of that critical effect, that Lightning Legs may be returned to the top of the deck. And in that case, that's light gets sustained for another turn. Critical Lightning Legs, not an attack you see a whole lot of. I feel like I see a repeating attack more. Just for the plus 0 to 1 range. Just because you need that extra continuous boost. But no, Petersonian making use of the critical on that Lightning Legs to sustain the light. And looking really, really solid here. Well, I wonder if this is just going to be a prepare action coming out from Petersonian. I don't think he wild swings this. Because it's only at 3 power right now, so there's just a bunch of things that that will trade with poorly. I'm assuming it's just a prepare action that comes out from Petersonian, right? You don't want to go too low on cards in this matchup. So when we saw D go low on cards, it was because he had built a bunch of force in his gauge. So he would gain advantage and then change cards like 3 or 4 just to reload. I was actually really, really impressed with D's performance in that mirror match. But Petersonian doesn't really have a whole lot of force to his name. Looks like we're just going to see the CC2 dropping the Hosenka to draw 3. Banazama striking into the light once more. Of course, last time he struck into the light, he played Assault to attempt to beat the spike. Let's see if this is going to be like a flipping axe kick to beat the spike again. That'd be pretty funny. or to attempt to beat the spike again. Nope, it's just going to be the offensive block to attempt to defuse the boost. Poor man's tech. Banazama immediately takes the 2, of course. Doesn't really have a whole lot of force to his name now with only 2 cards in hand. And that's going to be just Petersonian playing the 7-speed assault to deal 4 damage. That's going to be a fierce boost coming out, plus 2 power, plus 0 to 1 range. Shout out to our Carmine fans. Banazama, of course, has to prep. Does have the 3 gauge for exceeding in the near future. But is down a ton of life as well. This is looking pretty good for Petersonian. So we see the repeating attack come out here, plus 0 to 1 range. And then with this after potential recursion, Banazama preps again, maybe just resigned to losing the strike. Back to Petersonian here. Basically anything that Petersonian will do will hit here. Although we are seeing at range 3, so Banazama can cross out of some of those slows, right? Can cross out of a card like Sweep, for example, which would only be 1 to 5. But other than that, basically everything hits, if you're Petersonian. So we're gonna see the reading. We're gonna see this paired with a reading. Reading hits. It's gonna be reading the cross and place his own cross. That's gonna be a 5-power cross incoming for Petersonian. Is there going to be recursion? And there is going to be recursion of the cross. Cross goes on top of the deck, and Lightning Legs gets added to gauge. Banazama down to 11 HP. Still needs to spend a turn to exceed somewhere down the line. Good news is Petersonian is running low on cards, only 2 in hand, so we'll have to spend a turn to prepare at some point. Yep, and there's the exceed as we predicted for Banazama. Now things get real goofy. As both players build additional range whenever they pop down a continuous boost. And looks like maybe a CC here. CC2 drawing 3 for Petersonian. Interesting. Likes to go for those smaller CCs a lot. Valuing that 1 extra card for the force expenditure. Not a whole lot of players like to do that, but Petersonian has done it multiple times this match so far. Okay, Banazama with the lights will almost assuredly retreat 1. Yep. So now that's plus 2 speed, plus 1 maximum range. Range 3 mix-up can now hit at range 4, very spooky. But such is the Chun-Chun mirror, right? Petersonian down 2 cards in hand compared to Banazama at this point in time, however. Right, in that before that last strike, we just saw Banazama valuing drawing cards with the double repair action. I wonder if we see Petersonian do that in the future. No, we're actually just going to see the Faultless Focus come out. Stun immunity, now strike, hit add this to gauge. We did see a cross red from Banazama earlier, right, by Petersonian. So the chances that Chun crosses out of this setup are really low. This is an expensive play from Petersonian. However, if it does hit, reminder that Faultless Focus will be added to gauge for force expenditures later. So don't have to worry too much about that. Notably, this also gives Petersonian plus 0 to 1 range as well, so I wonder if this is an assault. to get advantage immediately and then able to change cards. It is actually the SBK. So the dive will go first. We'll hit for 5 power. Will of course not stun the Faultless Focus. The Spinning Bird Kick will advance 3. Of course has range 1 to 3 and will hit Banazama back 4 or 5. And then on top of that, Petersonian gets an additional pusher pull too. That's that vacuum effect on the SBK. And yeah, I mean, this is what we were talking about earlier, right? This SBK, this card is so valuable on Backside Chun. It always hits. It always hits. And that's going to be a massive life lead continued to be held by Petersonian with 22-6. Petersonian doesn't have a ton of cards in hand, but like we said, bunch of force here available, right? Wouldn't be surprised to see a CC3 on his turn. So we see Banazama go for the CC2, drawing 3. Wouldn't be surprised to see Petersonian go for a similar maneuver here. Interesting. Opts to keep the single gauge around. Okay, opts to keep the single gauge, goes CC5, drawing 6, dropping a cross and a spike. Or, sorry, CC4. 2 normals and an ultra to draw 5 total. Is it time for some boost? Some boosting now? Keeping the ultra around for crits, maybe? I don't know. What crit looks good here? Crit Kikoken is like a scuffed block. Head stomp doesn't matter. Flipping axe kick could kill. Like a crit flipping axe kick at 6 speed, 6 power. Could kill. Maybe that's the reason why we've kept this gauge around. Maybe we've kept the gauge around to go for a late game Kikosho. Could be a number of reasons why. You see the defend boosted. That's +1 armor, +3 guard, +1 maximum range for Banazama. Back to Petersonian here. Petersonian puts on a Fierce. +2 power, +0 to 1 range again for our Carmine fans out there. And chooses to retreat 1. I mean, I'm assuming that was just allowed. Both players are in voice chat. Technically, you're supposed to retreat 1 before you draw your end of turn card. But both players are in voice chat, so I'm assuming we're just going to assume that's allowed. I see the light boosted. Now Chun on the Banazama side has +2 speed and +2 maximum range. We're looking at the range 3 mix up again. Back to Petersonian here. Petersonian pairing his strike with a reading. And a critical. Reading, however, looks like it's going to miss. Banazama looks like he's about to draw that box. And yeah, that reading whiffs. We see a hand of 1-4, Flipping Axe Kick, Kikoken, EX Kikosho, and a Hozenka. We don't know what was red, unfortunately. I'm assuming it's just going to be like something that hits into a trade or like a grasp or something. We're going for, yeah, grass was red. We're going for the crit Kikoken with a bunch of power. And actually, did Banazama just lose? Banazama's Kikoken will go first, and then we'll lose all armor, and then this Kikoken wins, right? Wait, no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Petersonian just wins off that, no? Yeah, that's GG, right? The armor off the Kikoken wears off because Banazama's goes first because of the light. And that's going to be game 2 going to Petersonian in rather dominating fashion if we're looking at health totals. As we now have perhaps the most fun mirror of them all. It's going to be the Taokaka mirror. I don't know who asked for this. Don't think anyone did, but this is what's given to us. And we're going to have... I don't know who this is. It's a cat against another cat, of course. I don't know who this character is, though. Does anyone know who this character is? Oh my, there's like a special astral here too. What's going on here? Oh my. Looks like, oh my, there's a card back on it too. Jubei. It's a Taokaka skin made by Petersonian. Shoutouts to Petersonian on that. It's a Jubei. Don't know who that is, but I mean, hey. Now, this is the tournament to break out these. Oh my. Is there art on all of them? There is. Wait, and they all have special names on them too. Wait, this is a whole character. This is a whole character. Cool. Very cool. Look at this. Look at this. Did I know 9 is married? No, I don't. Do you think I care about any lore in this game ever? Let alone this Blaze Blue lore, which I care like negative about. Look at this. Very cool art. And like the fact that they all have their own names on them too is very, very cool. Anyway, Tao Mirror. Tao sucks on defense. Performs well on offense, sometimes with the Wild Swing before Advance 2. Or Wild Swings have before Advance 2, and then you can correct yourself if you screwed up. Interestingly, we're going to see an attack from hand here, so this is going to be either Dive or the Kitty Litter. And it is the Kitty Litter. Taokaka moving to range 2, just going for the Wild Swing, head empty. Of course, Taokaka's offensive Wild Swings have this, Advance 2. I think we just selected the wrong Taokaka here. So Tao advances 2, can spend 1, nobody in that position could kind of just like end up cornered. But no, that's going to be a, 6 power double pause strike. 165, hit push 1. Just gets blocked by Petersonian, however. Spends the Ultra, spends Roaring Pillar to take no damage. Notably, Wild Swing from deck doesn't perform great here because Petersonian then ends up in the corner and then like could miss with any number of attacks, right? So like for example, like performs really poorly with Spike for example, does this UA in this particular position. For you Taokaka mirror mains, look out for this position, right? Where Tao is just one space away from the corner and has just enough room for the opposing Taokaka to screw themselves over. So instead, we're just going to see the light come out, plus 2 speed for Jubei. An immediate strike from hand for Banazama, though. Banazama has disrespected lights in the past with assaults. Trying to beat out that defensive Spike. Banazama has also gone for blocks in this position as well. And yeah, that is just going to be the block. It is going to be the Fissuring Slash coming out for Jubei here at 8 speed. Is a 4 special, though, so we'll have to validate this. Validates with the block from the gauge, interestingly enough. We'll probably spend no force on it, and then we'll retreat back to range 4. Range 4 is a perfect place to be if you're going to use this UA for both players. Basically everything hits outside of Grasp and Trick Edge. Right? Basically everything hits at 4. I believe that was an offensive initiation of a block from Banazama, so now it's Jubei's turn. Wonder if we're going to see any overdrives. So the overdrive ability for Taokaka that we cannot see is when you initiate a strike, your attack has before advance to retreat to. And that's going to be the Wild Swing Spike beating out the sweep. That is bad news for Taukaka. That not bad. That just sucks, man. That just sucks. Look at his art, though. You even got normal art on this character. And such are the swings of Wild Swing characters, huh? Although, to be fair, Petersonian could just avoid this sweep by spending one force to retreat one on Taukaka's UA. And we are going to see the OD come out from Jubei. We'll wait for Petersonian to flip his card. But basically, when you initiate a strike, it's this Wild Swing caveat is now gone. Your attack has before advance 2, then you may retreat 2, and your overdrive has even more movement. As we look at this art is very fancy. Read the Exceed Kicker. I'd read the Exceed Kicker in my head. When you exceed, relax, you're the strongest being on the planet. Lore. Look at this. Look how strong this cat is. I mean, don't look at the tier list, but look at the lore. Don't read the tier list, though. You'll be disappointed. And it's going to be the focus. It's going to be the Wild Swing focus, so if Banazama chooses, he can spend a force for both players to miss, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, just 2 for 2 there. So we're going to see the overdrive come off. That's going to be a retreat 2. And that's going to be an EX coming out from Petersonian here. Something like the Ink's Dive, perhaps. Oh, wait, no. His attack is before advance 2. Huh. So what could this be? It's not an EX Dive. EX Assault? Okay. Just like super advance. So that's going to be 3 power incoming to Banazama, who will hit back for 3 as well. Overdrive will go off again. Petersonian chooses to advance 2. Oh, he's just doing his movement triggers first. Alright, let him do his movement triggers. We'll choose to end up there. It takes 3 damage, of course, from the focus. Overdrive kicks off again. Looks like we're going to see another retreat 2. Petersonian almost assuredly striking here. Okay, don't see why you would ever exceed as Jubei / Taukaka if you don't have 2 good strikes in, right? There's no reason to be doing that. Looks like just the Wild Swing coming out here, though, from Petersonian. And it is going to be the Wild Swing Spike. However, it's the Cross. So Cross gets out of there for free. Petersonian will advance 2 to range 4. So not really getting a whole lot of value out of this Exceed. Actually, technically getting 0 value because he played EX Assault, which was going to hit anyway. As now we're going to see Taukaka Exceed. These are fun times here. There was a little bit of value gained. There was the movement, of course, off the overdrive trigger. So Jubei must advance 2 or retreat 2. Retreats 2 to range 6. Perhaps thinking of trying to not interact with Taukaka in this state, just prepares. Although Taukaka, you're going to be interacting with Tau, right? Because she has so much movement on this Exceed side, right? Taukaka now at range 4. Immediate strike there. The question we're asking ourselves is this second spike or not? Or actually, no, is this first spike or not? Nope, just the Assault will beat out the Trick Edge. That's going to be 4 power incoming to Jubei. Taukaka gains advantage. We'll retreat 2, certainly off this overdrive effect. And here we go again. We're now sitting at range 3. So, yeah, this has to be a range 1 attack. Could be the Ultra, though. Could be the Ultra. It is the Ultra. Hexa Edge, 167 hit, push 2, gain advantage. Banazama does spend his 3 gauge for that, but that's going to be 6 power incoming. Not 16 power, but 6 power. With a push 2, gain advantage on it as well. Third overdrive ticks off. Taukaka steps back to range 4. Has lost the gauge advantage, however, due to playing that Hexa Edge. Okay, sitting at range 4. 3 cards in hand to Petersonian's 4. I wonder if he just goes for the Wild Swing again. Again, the only cards that miss are Grasp and Trick Edge. And yet just goes for the Wild Swing. Petersonian plays the sweep. Yeah, so Taukaka is going to be in and out. Has to spend 1 force on this strike to make sure the sweep doesn't hit. And yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Both players miss. Back to Jubei. Jubei, of course, with 2 gauge to Taukaka's 1. Health totals are relatively similar. We see a boost here, plus 2 power, interestingly enough. Our range 4 option that we're looking at here is the Rising Justice from Jubei. At 5 total power at 5 speed. Gets teched by Banazama, however. Does the Fierce. And Tao just says, and Jubei just says, yeah, let's go for the Wild Swing. It's going to be the Shadow Wolf, which will go first. Breaks the speed tie, will deal 4 damage. Pushes Taukaka to range 3. Keeler special, of course, is stunned out. Tao now sitting at range 3. Less options here work for the Wild Swing. Unless you, of course, want to spend the Forced Retreat. Tao is going to prepare. Jubei is going to Wild Swing here. It's going to be an attempted dive over, but it's going to be that Keeler special. So Jubei is going to have to spend 1 force here to make sure this hits, and it's going to be in the form of the Shadow Wolf. So Tao jumps forward, jumps back, and jumps forward and deals 3 damage. Draws 1 card as well, and gains advantage as well. Did Tao draw a card? I don't know. I'm assuming Tao. We're assuming that Jubei drew a card here. I think so because the expenditure of 1 force, and I think this is just EX Hex Edge from Jubei here. Not a whole lot of things this can be. Maybe there's a Grasp up. I don't know. Of course, this is from hand, so no UA involved. Not a whole lot of cards hit anyway. If you're Tao here, that looked like good EXs to play. Maybe it's a Demon Fox. It could be the Demon Fox, I guess. But I'm assuming that this is the Ultra. Only loses to what, like Focus or Surprise EX? And it doesn't even really lose to... not loses to Focus because you lose 3 gauge. Well, could this be like a really funny EX Trick Edge? Or Black Panther? I feel like it can be. I don't know if it is, but it would be funny if it was. If that was the mix-up, if there was an actual Thunderbird Rising Black Panther mix-up here, that'd be pretty funny. That'd be extremely funny. It's just going to be the Wild Swing, and yeah, it is that Ultra that we called out. 178, not bad. It's a Metsu Shoryu. It's going to be 7 power incoming. Banazama down to 2 HP. Push 2, gain advantage as well. I wonder if this is just going to be a Wild Swing to finish the game off, or does Petersonian have the card in hand to finish the game right here? Are we playing range 3 mix-up? Is the question. Petersonian looking at the deck, making me think that this is under curve. I feel like this is like a dive or something. With Petersonian checking that deck. Like, I don't think this is on curve assault. It's going to be the Trick Edge beating out the Spike. Petersonian takes game 3. Wins 2-1 for his team over Banazama's team. Again, we're being vague here because we don't know what the team names are. But yeah, 3 mirrors, 2-1 in Petersonian's favor. This will be the Polar Knight mirror going Banazama's way, but the Chun mirror, dominant win for Petersonian there. And then the Jubei taking game 3 over the Taukaka. So Petersonian earns 2 points for his team, whereas Banazama only earns 1 point. I think the format is just whoever has the most points by the end of the tournament wins the tournament. And they also win $20 as well, so... there is prize money on the line here. I guess I've casted like 5 games of this, but I haven't actually told you where this tournament's being run. It's run in the Breakfast Club. I'll probably put a description or link to the description for the Breakfast Club, or a link to the Breakfast Club in the description. Excuse me, if I remember to do so. It's like a server based on custom content, but then they're also doing this, and they have their own tournaments and their own things. But anyways, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to leave a follow, and thank you for watching live. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you for the next one. Don't know when it is. Maybe this weekend I'll be able to cast something. But until then, guys, take care and bye-bye.